Hello, friends. Do you know that in the current era, we touch our phones around 2,600 times on average, in a day? Not only this, according to research, after the COVID-19 pandemic, an average has a screen time of 7 hours a day. It means that we look at this for 7 hours every day. At times I scroll social media, watch videos on YouTube, or watch films on Netflix anything. If you are wasting 7 hours on it, not only does it affect the rest of your life, on your studies, job, business, and hobbies, but it affects your mind also. If you take the phone away from some people, they start getting irritated. They get restless. And some people experience stress. There is no doubt that this has become an addiction. But very few people talk about it. That's why, friends, in today's video, let's find out the science behind this addiction. The impact it has on your life, and most importantly, what can be the possible solutions. Sounds, animations, endless content, notifications, it became this constant bombardment of the highlight of everyone else's life. Lifestyles matter, you see, vacation destinations matter, fashions, manners of speech, ways of engagement. The brain's dopamine reward system is triggered by the pleasures found on social networking. I think we're living inside of 2 billion Truman shows. This is a checkmate on humanity. You won't believe this, friends, but addiction to social media is comparable to addiction to gambling, cigarettes, alcohol, and narcotics. It sounds quite strange. Considering that social media and cocaine are two very different things. Even though they are so different, there are some similarities between the addictions you've formed. Your body reacts to addictions according to a predetermined pattern called the dopamine pattern. Let's attempt to define dopamine first. Our brains create the chemical dopamine. This is the chemical formula. A benzene ring with 2 hydroxyl groups at the side and an amine group is attached to an ethyl chain. A neurotransmitter is tasked with sending messages between one part of the brain to another, act as a signal. For example, oxytocin is known as the love hormone. It is activated during bonding in relationships. Serotonin is a mood stabilizer. It keeps you emotionally stable. How does dopamine function? Scientists thought dopamine was a molecule that causes pleasure for a very long period. Dopamine is responsible for our feelings of happiness. However, that is untrue. The most recent research indicates that experts think endorphins, not dopamine, are responsible for our feelings of happiness. Our bodies use endorphins to reduce pain and increase enjoyment. Dopamine is associated with reward and motivation. Our dopamine levels increase when our brains anticipate engaging in an activity that might bring us happiness. Allow me to illustrate with an example. Remember when you were a child, and you used to wait for your father to come home, you knew that your father would bring chocolates for you. But you didn't know when your father would return. Imagine that the phone rang right that moment, and your father tells you when he'll be home exactly. You receive your father's call, and he is about to bring you your favorite chocolate. Even though you haven't consumed that chocolate yet, while waiting for your father to get home, you start salivating for it. Because your brain knows the taste of the chocolate it will experience later. The chocolate is the reward, here. A reward that you will receive in the future. But in its anticipation, while waiting for that chocolate, your dopamine levels rise. Due to this, you experience excitement and happiness. This is not a problematic scenario. This is how a normal human body functions in good health. Your drive, memory, and ability to learn are all significantly influenced by dopamine. Your body functions best when dopamine levels are at their optimal. However, it shouldn't be too high or low. It becomes an issue when your brain lowers dopamine transmission after you've experienced the reward. It drops below the starting point. Additionally, your brain develops a chronic dopamine deficit state as a result of exposure to the same item again. You cannot feel pleasure to the same degree when dopamine levels are continuously low. Happiness cannot be felt in the same manner. Therefore, you need even more stimulation to get the same amount of satisfaction. Now that you're probably confused, allow me to give you another example. Assume that after receiving your chocolate, your father gives it to you again the following day and again the day after that. Will you still be as excited when your father calls on the 8th day after you receive more chocolates on the 4th and 5th days and one every day? When you wait for your father, will you have the same joy? No. The novelty of the chocolate went off because you have been receiving chocolates for the last 7 days. Happiness cannot be felt in the same manner. Therefore, you need even more stimulation to get the same amount of satisfaction. Now that you're probably confused, allow me to give you another example. Assume that after receiving your chocolate, your father gives it to you again the following day and again the day after that. Will you still be as excited when your father calls on the 8th day, after you receive more chocolates on the 4th and 5th days and one every day? When you wait for your father, will you have the same joy? No. The novelty of the chocolate went off because you have been receiving chocolates for the last 7 days. Will you be still dancing even a month later, because you've qualified for IIT? No, you won't do that. And if people spot you doing so, people will call you crazy. The day you found out that you got admission into IIT, is the day you are the happiest. If you are still beaming with equal happiness a month later, it is not normal. The same thing can be said when you become an IAS officer, or the Prime Minister. It is like a treadmill. You need to keep moving on it, to maintain the same level of happiness. A year after you get admission to IIT, your dream might be to become so rich that you can dine at a 5-star hotel once a month. The first time you do this, there will be so much excitement. However, the novelty will wear off if you become wealthy and dining at 5-star hotels becomes a regular occurrence for you. You would need to try something new in order to achieve the same degree of happiness. You'll need to increase your wealth. Or you'll need to realize a different dream. The same concept extends beyond your life's accomplishments. It also holds true for narcotics and cigarettes. When someone takes drugs for the first time, even a small amount gives them a great rush. They get great joy in it, but eventually, he needs to consume more drugs to get the same level of kick, to get the same level of happiness. And just like that, he starts consuming a few grams of drugs, and then large amounts of drugs, and becomes heavily addicted to drugs. Because the pleasure that his brain was getting, from the said quantity of drugs, keeps on decreasing slowly. Social media addiction works similarly. Your brain anticipates a reward when you see a notification on your phone. Dopamine is produced. It makes you pleased when someone likes your shot or leaves a pleasant comment on it. You get an instant prize here. It's as if your brain is keeping a diary in writing, I am happy because of this thing. I'm going to do it again. However, the enthusiasm gradually fades. Only 100 likes, 20 comments, 2 messages, and 10 friend requests. It's not enough, you begin to crave more. And gradually, you begin to fall into the hole. You may be asking why the brain processes in all of the instances I've given so far are the same. So, why aren't we addicted to everything equally? Why don't we get addicted to passing IIT? Why don't we get hooked on making money? Why do we become addicted to substances such as narcotics, cigarettes, alcohol, and social media? Friends, there are 2 main reasons behind it. The first is the ease of access, and the second is the quick rewards. How easy are the events to go to? And how quickly do you be rewarded for it? These are the 2 risk factors for developing an addiction to something. If you have easy access to chocolate and consume it frequently, you may develop a chocolate addiction. Sugar addiction exists. However, because there is no immediate reward for passing IIT, you may become addicted to it. That prize comes after years of hard work. When you have easy access to money, it is easy to become addicted to producing money. When you have a simple technique to earn money, and you'll get your reward quickly. And you're making a lot of money fast. It's the same with gambling addiction. People who gamble away their money waste their money at casinos because they have easy access to them. They understand that going to a casino allows them to win a lot of money. As a result, they have simple access to the procedures. They will then be rewarded immediately. There are immediate rewards. That is why gambling addiction is so common. But it is difficult to become addicted to starting a business or progressively creating riches from a profession because there are no quick benefits or easy access. Let's take a look at things from the standpoint of social media. Social media and your phone are quite accessible. Whether it is Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you simply have to pick up your phone, unlock your phone with a swipe, and with one tap, the 3 apps can be opened. The second thing is that you get speedy rewards as well. The likes you get on your post, the comments on it, and the messages of so many people, that's on Facebook, and then the videos that you watch on Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube, the entertainment that you get out of it, if it's a comedy video, the resulting laughter, is a reward. Some time ago, I made this video, YouTube versus TikTok, that I told you how the app TikTok has higher ease of access and speedy reward than other social media platforms. On TikTok, you don't even need to search for videos. You simply need to swipe. Even if you don't swipe, the following video will begin playing automatically. And the payoff is so quick, with a new one every 20 or 25 seconds. As a result, apps like TikTok are far more addicting than Instagram or YouTube. The simplicity of access on YouTube is hampered because you frequently have to search for videos on your own. Then you must tap on the video to play it. When you open TikTok, the videos begin playing immediately, and it keeps swiping down on its own. When compared to other activities, let's say you wish to read a book. Patience is required. You will not be awarded until you have read a few pages of the book. It is time-consuming. If you want to go outside and play, you'll need to put on a t-shirt, a pair of shorts, and shoes before venturing outside. Physical strain on your body reduces the ease of access even further. If you want to meet up with your pals, you'll have to phone them, make plans with them, dress up, and then go out, reducing the ease of access even further. Friends, do you know what the most worthless and harmful item is? Every social media company purposefully created its app in this manner. They conducted extensive research to determine what psychologically interests people the most. Things that increase people's addiction, things that would entice customers to use their apps more frequently. They use the findings to tweak their apps because they spend more time looking at the screen. These businesses saw us as prey and set clever traps for us. These professionals are paid well, and they conducted a number of high-level psychological assessments and surveys on people to determine these triggers. They have paid attention to every detail, from the color scheme to the structure of the app's buttons. Previously, when you scrolled through Facebook, the news feed would finally finish once you had seen all of your friends' updates. However, they have now included endless scrolling. You can now continue scrolling, and Facebook will continue to show you stuff. Because their major goal is to get you to spend more and more time on Facebook, that we have always desired to discover things on our own. Meet new people, visit new locations, try new hobbies, and learn new things, but learning something new takes time, and it takes time. The convenience of access and quick reward that you get from your phone is significantly more, which is why you can rely on it so easily. This social media addiction is hazardous to your health for a variety of reasons. The first and most obvious reason is that you will waste your time. However, this is simply a surface-level explanation. Aside from that, there is a rise in radicalization. If an algorithm continues to offer you things you like, your political beliefs are formed in an echo chamber. If you like right-wing content, you will only be shown right-wing posts. If you prefer left-wing posts, you will only see those. Second, it contributes to feelings of insecurity and despair. When you look at people's social media profiles through filters, they appear to be really lovely. The teenagers then start feeling more and more anxious and may eventually get depressed. Especially when they receive less likes. If you look at Facebook's advertisement, Mark Zuckerberg has created an image suggesting that you introverted strangers start talking to one another on Facebook, they start messaging and then exchange phone numbers, they meet in real life, they become close friends, and I believe they eventually marry. Wow, Facebook is a marvel for humanity, however. Harari questioned Zuckerberg on whether Facebook's role is to connect people or to keep them addicted to Facebook. For a service provider like Facebook, the practical question is, what is the goal? I mean, are we attempting to connect people so that they will eventually leave the screens and go play football? One example would be What actually happens is that your real-life friends become Facebook friends, and you see their updates on Facebook and interact with them on Facebook, through comments and messages, until you eventually stop meeting people in real life. How many of your Facebook pals have you actually met in person? Returning to our initial theme, the issue is social media addiction. Social media, when utilized responsibly, may be beneficial. That I'm not suggesting that you abandon social media entirely. After all, you're watching this video on social media, and all of my job is done through social media. But how can we break this cycle of addiction? The answer is hidden in two factors: friends, ease of access, and quick rewards. If you want to stop any addiction, then you'll have to reduce the ease of access. You'll also have to get rid of the quick rewards. Today, logging onto Facebook is as simple as picking up your phone, unlocking it, and tapping on the Facebook symbol. But, if it weren't so simple, would you use Facebook as much? Delete all social networking apps from your phone as a quick fix. That I'm not requesting that you deactivate your account, I'm requesting that you delete the apps. That if you want to use social media, you can do so using your phone's browser. Alternatively, on a laptop. It will help by making access more difficult. It would not be as simple to open those apps, thus, your behavior would change. If this seems too much for you, another thing that you can do is to turn off the notifications. With this, your mind will not be expecting a reward every minute or every hour. You will open the apps only when you want to. Actually, the solution depends on your addiction level. Turn off the notifications if you don't think you're addicted. If you believe your addiction is becoming a problem, remove the apps. If you believe you are highly hooked to it and need to drastically reduce your intake, utilize these applications solely in private mode. It means you'll have to input your password every time you check into Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. This would make access even more difficult. The basic idea is that the more difficult the action is for you, the easier it will be to overcome your addiction. You'll be able to overcome your addiction. The same is true with cell phones. Do you know that the sound on my phone is never turned on? There will be no audible alerts regardless of the notice. I don't want to be distracted by notifications to the point that I ignore my work and look at my phone. A person unlocks their phone 110 times every day on average. So, when I've already looked at it 110 times, I'll check the notice. This concept can be used to numerous sorts of addictions. If none of the stores surrounding you offer cigarettes, and it becomes tough for you to buy them, or you don't have the money to buy them, obviously, it becomes more difficult for you to become addicted to smoking. I hope this video was informative as always.